All right, what is up, everyone? Happy Whiskey Wednesday to you. Welcome to Midnight Hatter Live, the weekly variety show where we talk about Gunpla, Gundam, video games, tabletop gaming, all that good stuff. I am, of course, your host, Sickly Steven. Hope you guys had a good Christmas. For me, it was a good Sickmas, so I hope you guys had a good holiday weekend. And joining me, as always, is the waifu watching Adam Blue. How you doing,
That's
buddy?
right. No, doing good. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that adjective for today, and there's no shame in it. I'm broadening my horizons, and yeah. In fact, I'm currently working on this. I got this little they call it 30-minute sister or whatever.
Whoa,
Um,
easy. This is the NSFW stream here.
no, it's pretty cool. Yeah, I'll probably talk more about it on Gundam Explained, but I guess that is my build for the week, if anything.
There you
Yeah.
go. I'm excited to see what you do with it because, yeah, I mean, so I have had, and this was kind of a joke, honestly. My wife told me that she wanted me to get her the Titans made Super Fumina, high grade kit. I bought it and gave it to her, and she said, what the hell is this? Why why did you get me this? It was a joke. So now I've got this Titans made Super Fumina that I need to come up with something to do with. So I don't know if you have any
Okay.
build suggestions. Maybe we make it a waifu week, and you've got your
Uh,
30-minute sister that we're gonna. Well, I don't want to spoil what your plan is for her.
oh, yeah, yeah. No, I just looked this thing up, this Super Fumina. I like it, how it has, like, the binders and the guns on the back.
Oh yeah,
Um,
got like the two shields. It's like a full armor
yeah,
Thunderbolt
you know what? This
Fumina.
stuff just reminds me of, like, action figures when I get SH Figure Arts, the Marvel Legends, but the thing that you're building them is what just makes them awesome.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
extra layer um of excitement, and maybe that's honestly that would be a cool excuse me, I'm gonna be doing that all stream. That would be a cool build competition. Take a 30-minute sister or a Super Fumina and make a mobile suit girl that hasn't been made yet. So like,
Good idea.
I might take some
There
high grade Zeta parts and slap them on her and make
you go.
my Zeta waifu.
No, I think that's pretty cool. I like that. I like that. It's no different than one of those romance novels, with
Yeah,
Fabio
exactly.
on the cover. Yeah.
Looks like we got some good friends here in chat. Robert, how you doing? Zionic Shadow, Shirt Lad, Ian, Dan, and Sway. How y'all doing?
Yeah, good to see you all.
Oh yes, looks like the Argamud launch deck has some new suits. It's the same four, but I shuffle them around, to like. Well, now the Zeta's flying at the Psycho Gundam. I
Nice.
think my next step should be to build the Kshatriya and see if that thing can hold the Kshatriya and the Psycho Gundam on at the same time.
Yeah, that would be crazy. That would be crazy. And a Mark II, but do they even have a, version of that on, as a high grade? The Mark II?
No, they don't actually.
Hmm.
I thought about getting like the Assault Kingdom version because
Oh, yeah, yeah.
that would be kind of cool. But yeah,
The fixed figuration version is super expensive. Yeah.
yeah, it
It looks
is.
cool, though.
Yeah, there's no Scope Dog girl. That's a shame. Um, but yeah, hope you guys are all having a good week. Lucas, good to see you in chat here as well.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, hope you guys are all having a good weekend. You're enjoying your various holiday gifts. I know that naturally, Adam, you had a video this week. What's a Gundam YouTuber get on Christmas? That shirt is
Yeah.
pretty sweet.
No, that was cool, and it's funny, just as I get older with kids, like, you tend to, just get less and less stuff to the point where that's just part of it for a lot of reasons. Part of it is my wife's like, "What do you want for Christmas?" And I'm like, "Well, I pretty much buy when I want something, so I think I'm good." So it's nice, I get the usual pair of socks, sweater, but then it's the people that, and I find it funny. That's what I talk about in my video. It's like people know that I have a YouTube channel about an anime that's called a Gundam. So then to be nice, there are family members that will just be like, Gundam, and they'll get it. And even if it's something I would never buy, but that's what's kind of the charm of it. So it's like, oh, that's pretty neat. I have this thing I never would have got before. And,
Yeah, I love that.
and so it was funny because then basically everything I got this year, which wasn't a lot, just a few little things from, again, kids, wife, other close family, just little Gundam knickknacks. So it's pretty nice.
Yeah, that is sweet. Yeah, I mean, and I'm right there with you. I not as many kids yet, but what this year I got a pair of socks with my daughter's face on them, which uh
Nice.
my wife and I have this inside joke because my daughter makes this frowny face that is like the frowny face emoji. It's just a perfect like, and so I have that on my socks, which is so funny. Um,
That's good.
but yeah, being a dad, you supply the gifts, don't the gifts.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, that's right. And
but
then when you have everything, it just makes it harder for people to like be like, "Oh, present idea," you know.
exactly right.
Yeah. Yeah, Zionic Shadow. Between my birthday, Christmas, I got 12 new kits,
Ooh.
tools, money, and Blue Day Chanel, which I'm guessing is a cologne.
Yeah, that's a nice fragrance.
Oh, okay. Dang, that's a nice one. That is like top tier right there.
Yeah. Ultronymous, good to see you in chat as well.
Yeah, autonomous.
So I hope I didn't give away too much in the thumbnail, but tonight my goal here is to make Adam green with envy with some old books that I dusted off for the stream. So tonight we are going to be flipping through some pages in the Mobile Suit Illustrated catalog of 2015. So it's got just about everything except for like some IBO and obviously Witch from Mercury stuff. But I mean, it's hilarious because you look at the front cover and it's got this, list of like 30 different series and video games and OVAs and all this stuff. And then
Oh,
it just says,
wow.
and so forth at the bottom. Like,
It's
you probably
but
just could
that's
have
pretty
said,
cool. It's so it's listed by whether it's the anime or the video game. So when I was asking earlier about it being canon, they are doing it specifically between, like, video game or a show or something. That's really cool,
exactly.
actually.
Yeah, and that's how it's sorted. There's an alphabetical index at the back, but it is sorted by the source material. So it
Mm,
starts with the anime since that's kind of chief as far as canon goes. But
yeah.
then as you get further down the line, it's like, here's where things get a little bit of loosey goosey. Um, and then additionally, we've got this, which is the 2000 edition Mobile Suit Gundam character encyclopedia. Um,
Wow.
Also just packed with some excellent illustrations and some character backstories that you would not expect to find, and again covers everything from, shoot, I wish that it had a massive list, but I mean, suffice to say, got some of these turn A weirdos in there that
Ah, okay, so it goes pretty far. And I guess it's all Japanese.
exactly. So
But
we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna bust out the phone and do some
exactly, I
Google
was about to
Translate and
say. I guess for anyone out there that would be interested and don't and haven't realized this yet, on your phone, and I think any phone can do this. It has like the camera app has a translator, and you can kind of. I've been doing this with the games that I import. You can like scan, and that would be so easy to do with a book. I mean, even
oh
having
yeah.
at night the flashlight on and the camera, and you just want to kind of read. That's pretty cool.
So yeah, to those of you who may criticize like, oh well, that doesn't seem to be canon what you've done with Gundam 5e, and like you've made these mobile suit stats this and not that, and I'm like, look, I've got the books, and first of all,
Hmm.
what's I also have several software manuals that I use because let's see, some parts.
And software, as in like video games, video game
Exactly.
manuals. Oh wow.
So we've got Gundam versus Zeta Gundam manual. We've got our Senki Battlefield Record 0080 or 0081 manual. We've got our Gundam Side Stories manual, and all of these have different unit stats and things like that in them,
Ah.
which none of them are consistent through
Oh,
any
okay.
materials that you find. So really,
Okay.
it's just anyone's best guess. Like, yeah, maybe this mobile suit does that. But there's always some excellent artwork in these
Yeah, that is
manuals.
cool. Oh, I love manuals. I love it, yeah, back when that was a thing. I mean, there's no way any of my kids right now would understand me if I was to say, "Oh, video game manuals with all the artwork
Yeah.
and the story and the cool stuff." It's like,
Yeah.
"What?" Yeah, that's
Wait, video games came with books? Why would I want a book with my video game?
yeah. Man, that's crazy. Crazy, crazy.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, the Gundam versus Zeta Gundam and side stories. Yes, those are two good ones. Ultronymous. Um,
And then, yeah,
yes. Oh,
Goose Geary. Yeah, he's saying, "Could that work with screenshots, Adam? Because I took screenshots for the data files for Rumble Raw." So that's a good question. Is it possible if you already have a screen in Japanese characters that you can make it look at the text and translate it? I haven't tried that.
yeah, yeah. In fact, you can.
Oh, wow.
So and you can even do it with PDF pages. So this is
Oh, that's right.
so your phone can do it in one step, which is nice, but
That's
with
right.
PDF pages, there's a two-step process. You have to A, have like the professional version of Adobe Acrobat,
Oh,
because that's the only one that comes with the OSR technology, which is if you have like a photo of text, because obviously if you take a picture of text, your computer doesn't know that it's text unless it has some kind of smart reader that can detect what is text. So Adobe Acrobat, the Pro edition, has OSR technology, which converts images to text documents. Once you've done that, there's actually there was a Russian website. I want to say it was like Yandex, something like that, but you can upload the text document of those PDFs and they'll translate the text for you and spit out
wow.
a Word document that has all of the translations. It's unformatted, so fair warning there. I have that
Yeah.
39-page instruction manual for the Gundam board game that
Oh,
I
yeah.
did that with. So, I've
Ah,
extracted all the text from that. So I'm still going through the process of taking the unformatted, like raw text output from that website and like trying to say, all right, so I see that this paragraph on page 6 is about this long, and like maybe
oh my
this is
gosh. That would be a
it's
pain, but someone's gotta do it,
someone's got
right?
to do it because we got to play these board games. And honestly, I think that
Yeah.
that would be an exciting thing to do. Would be to because first of all,
Yeah.
there aren't even Japanese YouTube channels that are playing these Gundam board games. I'm like, can someone give these games some love? Like,
Wow. Yeah. I mean, and we have some people in the community like Dikichu, what's his name? Yannick Scans that
oh yeah,
has th- on his own time, he kind of goes through some works that he can translate, but obviously he can't do everything. So there's room for oh, and then I was reading and I told you this the other day, I was reading the Advance of Zeta manga that's
yes,
translated, and I got through 8 or 9 volume or chapters and it's funny reading it, it's like I could tell they were just trying to literally translate, and some things maybe they tried to make sense, and it's like, "Oh, I would love to doctor this, go back in and be like, okay, this is what this character is really trying to say in this way. This is actually what they mean." Because I had fun actually trying to interpret the English that they tried to put there, but
yeah, yeah. Because
yeah.
sometimes that direct translation, like, for instance, that Zeta Gundam board game that I have, uh, they have a funny name for hangar. It's something like air hatch, something like that.
Hmm,
The direct
yeah.
translation isn't
What
exactly what you would think it would be. So it's
yeah.
like, the race for the Ayug, which I don't even think they call it the Ayug. They call it like, the anti-Earth Union to reach the air hatch. And I'm like, I
Yeah, it would be
it's
what do so you gotta think of all the work that really goes into these dubs and subtitles that
true.
are released anyway, because they have to really go in, and that always reminded me of, like, in the Dark Souls games, because there's so much text, but it's always in, like, um, the weapons and descriptions, but
Oh
there's a
yeah.
specific tone that Game World has to have, so you have to think when they get their translators, they either work real closely or they know exactly how to get that tone across. I mean, that's real collaboration,
Yeah. Yeah,
if you
it
think
is.
about it.
And you have to maintain like cultural sensitivity between two different languages because
Yeah,
obviously, there are some English words that might be offensive in Japanese, there are some Japanese words that might be offensive in English. So where do you bridge that gap? How do you resolve those kinds of conflicts?
yeah, that's interesting.
Localization's a is a hard job.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to give it up to them.
So that said, let me go ahead and change screens here and see if we've got our book in place. It's framed up real nice. Yeah, basically, I just want to kind of go through and, we're not going to dive into anything super detailed. I do have my phone handy in case we want to do some quick translations. The
Hmm.
advantage of me doing it this way is that because it's upside down, I actually get to open the book as if it's not a Japanese book.
Ah,
And
that's
that's for
funny.
your guys' benefit. I do this for you.
Oh, you opened the right page just then.
Oh, did
I just,
I?
yeah, I just saw some hazel units or
Oh,
some.
yes, absolutely. So, what I love about this book is it starts off with, here's obviously our table of contents. There's some beautiful illustrations here. And anyone who wonders like, oh, where's all that like line art come from? It's a compendium like this.
Ah,
Um, Now this should be familiar to just about anybody who has been watching Gundam for, you know, 10 minutes. We've got like all of our 1 year war units and their line art front and back. This is what comes up when you search the Wikipedia.
mm. Yeah, that's
Um
right. It's like all the original source stuff. I mean, is that really original source stuff that they've just kept in good condition since?
that is what
Pretty
I
amazing.
believe to be the case.
Yeah.
And
I
then
guess any chance they get to scan it into a higher resolution scanner over the years they do it. Yeah.
exactly right. Um, and again, it's organized by series. So like, you start off with your 0079. Here is your origin anime, which this was published before there was the Gundam actually in the origin anime. So all you had were the
Mm.
the Xeon units, right? Then you have the manga origin, which obviously is a little bit more fleshed out. We've got our Gundam with the prototype beam rifle and the shoulder mounted cannon. Yeah. And again, the first half of this book, or not first half, probably like the first third of the book, is all of these full color images.
Mhm.
And then, just brief descriptions. Oh, here we go. So here are those
Oh,
sweet Advance of Zeta units. And
yes.
so what's interesting is this would be probably where that concept art of the Hyzak came from that I use as the
That's right.
guide. Yeah, here we go. Here's that Hyzak, the pre-production Hyzak, which I have not forgot about that custom. I am still working on it.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point because a lot of times on the Gundam Wiki, we're seeing these pictures, and sometimes it's like, this is the only picture of this ever. What is it from? And it's pretty neat that, again, within you know, the Gundam IP holders, they put that stuff together.
Yeah. And as you get further and further into it, we've got our double Zeta units. This is where it starts getting weird, obviously, into the double Zeta
Mm.
era. But this is all still UC, and obviously UC spans the biggest
Yeah,
chunk
quite a bit.
of this book. Probably about 40% of it is all UC units. Um, then we start
Oh,
getting into your stuff, the late UC, F90, F91.
very cool. And I like being able to see as we were flipping through there, like the variations of core fighters and transforming stuff, because I'm totally into that stuff. Yeah, this would be a good
Oh yeah,
on-hand resource instead of just clicking websites, unless that's the old type in me talking.
there we go. Yeah, your eyes are weighed down by gravity upon these pages.
It's pretty good.
um, But again, this is still UC stuff. Here we start getting into some double X. Is this? Oh no, this is some build fighter stuff because we've got our Leo custom here. We've got the Mercurius and V8 build fighters customs
Mm,
and some Gundam X. It looks like.
yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And again, these are just our full color images that covers, you really just get a front and back of everything, but none of the technical details. As we get further into the book, we obviously can get into some of the more exciting stuff, which is your technical specs, your first appearance, last appearance, that kind of stuff, which is super helpful if you are planning any kind of, I don't know, Gundam tabletop game or something like that. But I don't know anybody
Yeah, I
who's
mean, even referencing for any time we're creating some sort of fan art or fan fiction, like sometimes it's like I want to see what's already there or what they have done, so you can kind of um,
yeah.
add to that.
And one of the popular pastimes over on the Discord server is making up some like custom mobile suits, doing some Photoshop compositing of images, which is always pretty
Yeah,
neat. You take some of these. What's nice about almost all of these images is that they are kind of posed in the same static pose, so you can kind of
true.
chop and merge images with ease, which is nice.
Yeah, that's a legacy from Okinawa, isn't it? Or I think I said his name right. Like that's how he was originally putting together those
Yeah,
uh
yeah,
concepts.
and it makes it nice because obviously consistency is key, and if you've got these images, you do want to make sure that you've got some scale that you can measure to. Obviously, it wouldn't be very useful if you had a bunch of different poses and images where it's like,
Yeah.
well, I don't know if the Akai is necessarily as tall as the Gundam because I can't tell if it's crouching and things like that. Um,
Oh,
Build
yeah.
Mark II, fantastic underrated mobile suit, fantastic underrated high grade kit. I can't believe that they made a master grade of it, except I'm glad that they did because the build grade or the build Mark II is just an awesome Gundam.
It seems like Mark twos seem to just be good suits. What
Agreed.
is it?
Yeah, there's something about that Mark II. Yeah, and we're still well into some build fighter stuff. Oh, speaking of Super Fumina,
Oh,
the um the R35 Dom and Goof were very popular build fighters kits as well. I mean, honestly, the build fighters kits are awesome.
yeah, they are. They are pretty cool. I
Say
mean, they're
what you
just
will about the show.
yeah,
The
and I haven't got to it yet, but yeah, they're just it's almost like they know what is needed just to take something over the edge to be even cooler.
exactly right.
And they have the freedom to do that, not really constrained by any sort of lore.
Exactly. Um sorry Robert, I did miss the Buku. Um Gundam AU where all the concept art is just Gundams and T-pose. Yeah, exactly. Actually, I don't know. I don't think that the core Gundam is covered. Oh, is it? No, that's the Mac knife. These are
Mm,
G-Reco stuff. Um I don't think that the core Gundams are covered in this book that I know of.
hmm.
Obviously, I spend most of my time in the UC section.
And when did you say again this version came out?
This is from 2015. So,
2015. Oh, wow. Okay. That because I was just looking online because I got to pick one up, and there's different versions, and
mhm.
um, yeah, the 2015 seems to be the latest one I'm coming across.
Yeah, I mean, they probably got tired of compiling all of this. And I think that that just covers the anime because now we're getting into some of these video game mobile suits. We've got your
Ah,
Mud Rock Gundam, got some Ifrits, um, and then it's interesting to me that even in the video game concept art, they try to do the same sort of poses with the mobile suits.
yeah, that's
Um,
cool.
Here, obviously, we've reached the end of the book. Is the Ifrit Noct, my personal favorite.
Oh, yep.
But yeah, I mean, obviously they even have like Ace customs for different mobile suits in here as well, which is pretty sweet. Um, oh yeah, here we go. We got some Thunderbolts, and I
Oh,
really like the way that they did the Thunderbolt stuff because they did these breakdowns of like all of the individual components that make up the full armor Gundam, the GM.
oh
Um,
yeah, that's nice.
that's pretty sweet. We've got the Musha Gundam, which, you know, you and I might be battling here soon when we start hopping into some Dynasty Warrior streams.
Yep.
Um, Same thing with the Psycho Zaku. You know, we've got like a breakdown of all the different incarnations of the backpack that are available. Um, so yeah, that wraps up the color illustrated portion of the book. The rest of it's in black and white, but this is where we get into the sort of meat and potatoes of the book, because as you go into here, you've got all of these really detailed technical drawings. You've
Mm,
got all of your
that's
technical
nice.
specs and all that good stuff. This is where we would want to break out the old translate function on our phones and see what we can come up with.
Man, that is super detailed.
Yeah,
That it almost makes you wanna color it in, but no, would not do
I
that. I can
mean,
see a kid getting a hold of this and starting coloring.
yeah, I'm gonna
And
need to need to keep my daughter away from this one. I made all the mobile suits pretty, Dad. Um,
yeah.
but you know, again, if you're into the, you know, photo compositing and you want to kind of kit bash some mobile suits, this is going to be the way to do it, because you've got all of these mobile suits. You've, I mean, shoot, even as far as like 3D modeling, if I've got these angles that I can work with, I can make 3D models of just about any of them. Um, you
Oh,
can sort of, you
yeah.
know, slap some goof shoulders on a gun cannon if you want.
Oh, yeah.
Now again, we start off with just the UC stuff, or well, just the 0079 stuff. Let's see if we get a of some of this stuff and just all of the details that it gives you on every mobile suit. So for instance, up here in the top left corner, we've got the goof, a mobile suit developed as a mobile suit developed as a mobile suit for ground combat under gravity, originally developed as the enhanced version of the O6J. It eventually became a completely different aircraft. There's an example of, you know, where the direct translation, a lot of
Yeah.
times they'll call mobile suits aircrafts, which makes a lot of sense. That's essentially what they are.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
That is interesting.
Mass-produced B-type with fixed armament based on a simulation that assumes fighting against mobile suits, has a heat sword and shield. So a little bit of the backstory on the Goof is it is designed as a dueling mobile suit. So similar to, I think that you know, Adam, you're going to be familiar with this, is like the 7 different lightsaber fighting styles, right?
Oh, yeah.
There's the
Very
lightsaber fighting style that was developed after the Sith started using lightsabers as well, and so there was a whole lightsaber like defensive combat mode, right? Do you know the
yeah.
names offhand?
I don't know the names offhand, it's been a while, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like they
Yeah.
assume, because I think Form 1 of the lightsaber fighting styles is assuming that you're fighting against people with blasters. I think it's like Form 2 or 3 is assuming that you're fighting against people with lightsabers. And so the the design of your combat mechanics, similar to the design of the Goof, is designed knowing that your enemy is going to be a solo, also mobile suit. Um,
I
and that's why,
like that. That is some cool lore. That is the deep lore that
yeah,
I look for.
and that's, I mean, that's why you and I do what we do.
Yeah.
It's
True. That is true.
um so that is the kind of overall description. If we come down here, maybe I can grab the tech specs on it, go over some of the details that you expect to find for each mobile suit. So we've got our head height of 18.2 meters. We've got our body weight of 58.5 tons. We've got a 75.4 generator output. Not sure what 75.4 what units. Not sure about
Yeah.
that. But 1034 kilowatt thruster. Uh, let's see, 40,000 40,700 kilograms. So I assume that that's full loadout package compared to just the 58-ton gross weight. Um, this is what I find interesting. The effective sensor radius, which is not something that you talk about much when it comes to mobile suits. So the effective sensor radius is 3,600 meters. So that means that theoretically speaking, obviously every mobile suit has a certain limitation on its perception, on its ability to detect other mobile suits. Now,
Yeah,
it doesn't specify whether that's just radar, whether that includes sonar or thermal senses, but interesting
just in
details
general.
nonetheless.
Yeah. But that is actually very interesting, and I haven't looked into this, but in your tabletop, is there a parameter for that? Like, when in any type of combat, is there something to do with what it could sense? I
there
guess maybe distance for snipers.
there isn't yet, but I think that
Oh,
that's something that we've
okay.
talked about is adopting the three sensor mechanic that you find in like the Xeonic Front video game, where sonar gives you the widest detection range, but you're limited because obviously you can't detect anything that's not moving or not making
Right.
sound.
Okay.
Radar gives you like a medium detection range, but is easily jammed through Minovsky particles. Thermal gives you the most reliable detection because obviously a thermonuclear engine is going to be pretty hot.
Yeah.
But its detection range is very short because obviously the further out you go, the more heat sources you're going to pick up, and you're kind of going to get that predator vision where it's like,
Yeah.
well, I know that there's something hot in this general region, but
Well, and what about when it comes to the Minovsky particles with each sensor type? Like, I mean, you might not know this off the top of your head, but is there something to where, okay, based on the Minovsky density, maybe thermal would be good because it kind of can give you kind of a close range just in case, or sonar to a degree. I don't know much about that. Do you?
yeah, I mean the science eludes me.
That's pretty deep. I guess that's pretty deep then.
Let
Autonomous laughs and Minovsky particles. Yeah.
exactly right. Dan says that 3,600 meters is not far for something that's 18 meters tall. Very true. It's like three times
Oh,
its height. Like, oh, so I can see three mobile suits away from me.
yeah, yeah.
And
Good
so
point.
hopefully that kind of puts in perspective, a lot of it's interesting when you talk about like the Gundam on all of the materials. It always says like prototype close combat mobile suit. Now, when we talk about close combat in human terms, we're like, oh, so like melee combat, like fist fights.
Yeah.
When you're talking about close combat in terms of mobile suits, basically they're talking about like, you know, yeah, within like three people lengths away because that's the effect that Minovsky particles have on long range targeting
Mm,
systems.
yeah,
You don't have
okay.
smart rockets, you don't have ICBMs, you don't have that kind of technology available to you. Um, and I kind of like that as a piece of Gundam lore because it kind of future proofs Gundam away
Yeah.
from a lot of franchises that you and I have talked about this in the past. There's a lot of movies that it's like, if only they had a cell phone, they would have solved this
Yeah.
problem like in the first 5 minutes. This movie would be over, you know?
Yeah, I wonder if they even if someone was to try to explain, why aren't there cell phones in Gundam? Or it could be because, well, after the Minovsky thing being a thing, like, people just kinda stopped doing that and went back to maybe what other way of communicating. Yeah, I like that stuff.
Yeah.
I do. That's
Yeah, that's how I keep it. That's how I explain it to myself and how I rationalize my enjoyment for a 1980s children's cartoon.
Well, speaking of rationalizing, 1980s children's cartoon, Autonomous said something good. Maybe that's why even the Gundam had the special scope for when using its beam rifle, not just artillery units like the gun tank or gun cannon. Yeah, because that was like
True.
the extra sensor ability it had through the Minovsky particle density, depending on what it is.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, that's pretty
exactly.
good.
Dan says the science equals doesn't make good television, and I think it does.
Yeah,
um,
yeah. It's cool, especially when it's just making up stuff. Like, it's just interesting.
yeah,
It's just neat, and then I feel like
I
what
just think
always
Gundams are neat.
yeah, yeah. But what always seems to happen, and I think we've seen this with the original Star Trek show, is that then in the future, if you give it enough time, things tend to emerge that just mimic that because
Hmm.
there's an idea behind it. I mean, even and I haven't watched Battlestar Galactica, but don't they even have technology where they can't use wireless systems just for safety reasons?
Yeah, yeah, and I think that that's a
Yeah.
great plot contrivance too. Is if you have AIs or any type of anything that could infect a network and bring that network down, it makes it so that the more retro your technology is, the better off you are.
Yeah. I like that. I like that a
Um,
lot.
So the last specs that we get on the Goof are, of course, the armor material, which is carbide steel alloy. That's pretty typical for the 1 Year War. The 5-finger Vulcan cannon handgun, heat sword. It does list the Zaku machine gun as one of the standard armaments, as well as the giant buzz. I'm not joking. It does say giant buzz. I think it means giant bazooka.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes more sense.
um, so, Adam, tell me what mobile suit should we look up next? And I mean any mobile suit.
Anything you see?
If you want to
Um,
get, if you,
Actually, this might be pretty basic for us, but let's look at the double zeta. We're familiar with it. That's kind of a fave of ours, but I'm just curious
absolutely,
to see what it says spec wise, because if it's something we're familiar with, it might be more interesting um,
yeah.
to see. And
All
hopefully
right,
it
so
doesn't
we're
take
up
too
to
long to get
Zeta.
to that. We can see some six suits along the way.
Oh yeah. Uh, Looks like we've got some Zaku variants from the Zeta era. Um, UC 0081. So this is some. This
Yeah.
looks like some stuff out of Green Divers. That looks like a Zaku armed with a Goof Gatling shield, which is pretty freaking sweet.
Yeah.
Um, all
Yeah. That looks
right.
like something from the design looks Stardust Memory like the Zaku look.
Yeah, yeah. It's so funny because you see a lot of these sort of missing link designs where it's like, how did they get to like the Zaku 3 from the Zaku 2? And if
Yeah.
you iterate through like, oh, here's like the Zaku 2 Stutzer, and here's this, random Zaku 2 from Sentinel and that kind of stuff, you start to see how some of these design progressions occurred.
Yeah. No, that's
So let me see what we can get on our friendly neighborhood Double Z. I assume you meant
cool.
the Double Zeta Gundam, right?
Yep.
Let's let the old Google Translate do its thing. So here it is in the top corner, barely on screen. Let's at least get it into the light a little bit. Obviously, like we've been talking about how you've got your main image here, but then you've got some of these supplementary images. Like this looks like some kind of Balut like balloon backpack
Oh yeah.
that the Double Zeta wears. You've got some internal images of the head, close-ups of the beam rifle. I have no idea what that is supposed to represent. It looks like there might be some kind of sub-weapon system on a variant
Hmm.
of the Double Zeta. So, in lore, we have the variable separation mobile suit developed by Plan Z, designed with a concept that combines the function of the Gundam and G Mecha. By combining separate parts with the Neo Core fighter, it becomes two types of fighters and is equipped with large number of powerful beam weapons. Well, we knew that much.
Yeah, and I guess Plan Z, they probably mean Project Z.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
that's
Yeah,
kind of an example. Yeah.
another example of that kind of awkward translation.
Yeah.
So our Double Zeta Gundam specs, we've got a 19.86 meter height, so it's over a full meter taller than the Goof. 32.7 tons gross weight, so that is
Heavy.
insanely heavy. 68.4 ton generator output. Okay, so it is in tons, the generator output.
Oh, okay.
Which I wonder if it's actually supposed to be I wonder if it's
Like
actually supposed to be like 68.4 tons divided by the 7340 kilowatts.
I'm gonna pull it up on the wiki just so it's saying, yeah, max weight 68.4 metric tons.
Yep.
Let's see. Power. Okay, so did you say something you're looking for power output?
Yeah, let's what
7,340. I think it's kW kilowatts. I'm
kilowatts.
not
That's right. So then where is that 68.4 tons coming from?
max weight.
Max weight. So that's full loadout. Got it.
Okay. Yeah, empty weight 32.7.
That makes a lot more sense.
Okay,
Uh,
so is that accurate then? What you're looking at?
I mean, that's consistent. I don't know about
Sweet.
accurate.
Oh, yeah. No, but that's good because that's one cool thing that, like, being able to look in the Gundam Wiki and see the encyclopedia is, both seem to be consistent. That's a good thing.
Yeah, yeah, and
I hate for
like the Gundam Wiki is extremely useful and convenient, I would say,
yeah.
because obviously you can reference it on the fly. Something like
Yeah.
this is nice because it's hard. These numbers aren't going to change next week.
Yeah, exactly, and I just love how they're showing the different pictures, um, and, additional things on here, and really what we're this black and white part, they have the same pictures in of the main one in color, it's just the black and white parts because of all the text, pretty
Exactly.
much.
Yeah.
So that's cool too.
Um, and the black and white images obviously go beyond just the standard like front and back. Like this is where you get into, you know, this shows how the mass production cubule like deploys its funnels. Like it has like these little diagrams of just these minor touches that you might have missed in the anime, which I think is really cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I feel
Um,
like that's a good, companion, especially if you're watching Double Zeta, because Double Zeta is almost far removed from what everyone watches, and sometimes those suits are so crazy, it's easy to be like, "What was that?" So to have that book while you're watching to kinda go and reference, be super handy.
yeah, and they get pretty wacky in Double Zeta, so
Yeah, they do.
they come at you pretty thick and fast. So it'd be nice to
Yeah.
have something that kind of centers you and grounds you.
Yeah.
Um, Now, is there anything else that you would like to look at out of this book before we maybe switch over to looking at the character encyclopedia?
I wonder what is something else, um that it would be something we're all familiar with, but would be interesting to I don't know if you see something there, feel free to
Now, this page in particular, I want to draw everyone's attention to because this is the MSV Neo Ukawara collection. So when
Oh,
people typically get on like a Hajime Katoki kick, everyone likes their Verka, Gunpla, and what have you. I think that people tend to associate Kunio Okuwara with just the work that he did in 1979. A lot of these designs, this gun cannon could very well be a Verka. If it's like
yeah,
if you're talking about the level of detail and the level of rendering done to the illustrations, you know, the Okawara collection has some very Katoki-esque designs. So my plea is that people do not write off the godfather of Gundam design just because you don't like the granddaddy.
yeah. No,
Because obviously throughout his career he designed a lot of mobile suits, and he even redesigned a lot of mobile suits, and
yeah,
yeah, we get some exciting results out of that.
yeah, definitely. It's just crazy how much it's I mean, what a dream job.
Yeah, yeah, no kidding. And so, like, let's see. If we were to start from the beginning of the sort of black and white section, and we were to cover everything that is Universal Century, we've got this much of the book is just UC stuff. Um,
Wow.
and then it looks like a large portion of the book is going to be our quote AU stuff, which it looks like in here it's called Another Century, which
Hmm.
that's sort of the blanket term that they used at the time to describe
Wow.
your AU materials, your Gundam wings, your Gundam
G Gundam.
seed, all of that. That does make up a pretty sizable chunk as well. But let's not forget that UC also includes the video game section at the back.
Oh,
And it does
that's
hurt my feelings a little bit that the video games are considered like, either inferior or, not as canon to the
as
core
Another
story
Century.
as
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting because I mean, and it could be that now they see it different. Oh, that was 2015, but or maybe it could be how people view video games because really they
yeah.
do a good job keeping those stories like in canon and really adding to UC in general.
They really do. I think so anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
here, this is obviously gonna have some traumatic memories for you and I, since Ultronymous, you and I were recently playing 0081 together, and we were easily dispatched by a MLRS variant of the GPO2 Gundam. So that is featured in here under the 0081 entries.
That's
Have to
nice.
appreciate that.
I think I'm on the mission that I told you I was stuck on. I'm still stuck on it. I think I have to fight the Efreet, if I'm not mistaken. It just decimates me like in a couple hits.
It's insanely fast.
Yeah, it's oh man.
So now we need to determine whether or not the story modes can be played multiplayer, because if they can, I think that it would be excellent if we played through the story multiplayer. If
Yeah.
not, I am definitely happy with just doing a new game of you know, it's
Well, it seemed that there were some like at least stories in the mission. So maybe using the translator, we can figure out like kind of the story of the missions and kind of go through so we know what we're actually getting into.
yeah,
Makes it a little more fun.
that that'd be the way to go for sure.
Yeah.
I do excuse me. As much fun as it is to realize what your mission is halfway through, once it's started, it's like, oh, this is a defense mission. We need to stop them from
Yeah.
advancing. I do prefer to know exactly what we're doing, ahead of time.
Yeah. All right. Well, here
So,
we go. The
yeah,
characters.
4,200 yen was the original price on that book. I have no idea what it goes for now, but you can probably find some copies on eBay.
Up to 100 with shipping from
Oof,
when I was looking. It's like
brutal.
60, but then like 20 shipping. I mean, it varies, but yeah.
Now, just throwing it out there, there is an internet archived copy for those of you who do not necessarily
Oh,
care if it's a hard copy. There's an
not as
internet
fun.
archived copy.
Might as well be on the wiki, the
Might
Gundam
as
wiki.
well be. Right? Like at that point, it's like, man, you've got all these pages scanned in and you haven't like compiled this into. I'm surprised that the chat isn't blowing up with like, Hatter, you need to, I need you to go ahead and make a spreadsheet out of all the data in
Yeah.
there, and the entire Gundam 5e website needs to be dedicated to nothing but mobile suit data straight out of the encyclopedia.
Hey, don't say that because it's gonna happen.
Right, speaking into the universe. Um, so a little bit of an older book here. Obviously, this is some of Yasuhiko's beautiful artwork.
Fantastic.
The handsome Amuro Ray, painted in beautiful, what is this, watercolor? I believe that
Yeah, that's
Yasuhiko
what he.
typically
Yeah.
works in watercolors, at least throughout all of the origin books. When there is color in the origin books, it's done in watercolors.
Yeah.
Um, so this is the character encyclopedia, which again I bought as a reference material for you know, for RPGs, for just general Gundam knowledge. My favorite part about this book is that the interior cover is the Gundam manual cover.
Oh,
So it's
love
like the
it.
Project V manual, which you'll recognize from episode 1 of Gundam. And again, some beautiful artwork in here. We've got a little portrait piece with Sayla, Char, Lala, and
Ah,
Amuro.
very nice.
Then we've got like a smattering of Gundam pilots from across the age. We've got our Amuro, Camille, Lorhan, Shiro Amada, Seabook,
Mm.
Christina McKenzie. We've got
Hero Domon.
Garrett Rand from Gundam X. We've got
Oh, good job. Wouldn't have known
Judo,
that.
of course. Yeah, great. Yuso from
Oh, so yeah,
Victory.
from
Yeah.
Victory. Yeah.
Of course, they put him like right on the seam, so you can't see him.
Yeah. But good job calling out those names. Some of those I did not know.
It took me a minute. I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I that's your challenge to see, a true Gundam fan, is can they name all of these Gundam main characters on this page? Because
Yeah.
I would never, challenge someone to name like the main character from like, I don't know.
Any yeah, Reconquista or
Yeah,
even the after
Judeco
war
or
or
Age.
whatever.
Yeah, that one would be tricky.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think the hardest one on this page for most people would be Garrett Rand.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Um, Obviously, we've got our contents page. Don't know what any of this says, but
Like, nice. There's no Kira Yamato.
exactly. No Kira, no
Huh.
Jesus Yamato here. And similar to the to the Mobile Suit Encyclopedia, we have the full color spread pages here at the beginning, which
Oh,
cover
cool.
a lot of the Gundam pilots in both their normal suits and their civies. And then of course you get into some of the sort of side characters. One of the things that I think is fantastic about this book is that it really does cover everyone, not just the core, Gundam teams. So you get
Yeah.
into some real deep cuts as far as the individuals that are covered by this book.
Like old man in Federation suit, old man in Xeon suit.
Yeah, we've got these two. Not sure where they're from. Don't remember that episode. But they're here.
Yeah.
We have of course, um is this Dozel's wife with Mineva Zabi and her handlers.
Yeah, so that's probably at that bar.
Mm-hmm. Um, Now we start getting into the more attractive characters, of course, and
Quattro.
exactly
Emma.
right.
There's Emma. Nice.
A
Oh, and
bot.
so it
Oh
it
wait.
has her in like Titans and in the I guess there was that dark outline that's supposed to be like the silhouette of the suit or the
Oh yeah. So that is her in the Titan suit. It's just very dark. They do
Okay.
not have her in her AUG pilot uniform. You know,
Interesting. Very
uh,
cool though.
they do cover. Did it have Rekkoa in there as well in both her? Maybe not on this page. Maybe Rekkoa is going to be considered a Titan for the purposes of this book.
Mm,
Because
yeah.
we've got Lila, um, or Sarah. So it just has Rekkoa in her civilian clothes, none of the sort of Titans gear. Which, interesting choice not to show her in her normal suit.
Yeah.
And Sarah, for that matter. Now we start getting into the double Zeta characters. And again, this book is going to go heavy on the UC, and obviously we get into Victory Gundam here. Oh, here's the stuff that I think the Gundam Explained server is going to be excited for is that G Gundam.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. G Watch, 2 episodes of G Watch. We cover
Yeah,
G Gundam.
exactly. So if you're not a member of the Gundam Explained Patreon, go check that out because obviously there are some Patreon exclusive podcasts that come out every month where we're talking about Gundam series that are probably not as frequently covered.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Now, this is an also interesting choices. We've got some of the Endless Waltz gear here
Oh,
in the Gundam Wing section,
yeah. Huh.
and we get
Because
an
yeah,
X
there's
Man.
fans of both. I mean, they're both super popular for their own reasons.
Exactly. Now, this video game section is severely abbreviated compared to the video game section
Oh,
in the Mobile Suit Encyclopedia because obviously all we have is the Rise from the Ashes story. So we've got Vish Donahue, we've got the White Dingo team, we've got our
very
Blue
cool.
Destiny pilots, and who's this at the bottom? I am well, see, these are Gihren's Greed exclusive characters down here.
Ah,
Oh no, 1990 video game came
there was the one with the pixie. I forget what that was called. It was on the Super Famicom.
out.
That could be what it's
That
referring
must
to.
be where those guys are from.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely not as many
Dimension? Now, Cross Dimension.
cross dimension.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe that's what it's called. Yeah.
Um Now we get into some of the more detailed overviews of each of your individual characters. I particularly love that you have these kind of reference images of all the different emotions that characters have. So, you've got like your happy Amuro, your angry Amuro, you've got your sad
Oh,
Amuro, your confused Amuro. Um, And these, I imagine, are the types of quick sketches that are kind of passed around at the animation desk when it's like, hey, we need you to draw a scene of this character doing X.
Yeah.
This is the type of quick art that I imagine to see. Oh, okay, so this is how their facial expressions would contort to morph into that face. So some very
Yeah.
cool stuff here. Now, obviously, I think it is just about time for us to pull out our handy dandy translator and see some of the backstory that they have on offer. Obviously, with some of these major characters, you're going to have a lot of, you're going to have a lot of stuff written about, like Bright Noah. I would like to
Ah,
see
man.
how much we get on some of these sort of side characters. Let's see. So here we've got a few of the white base. Um, we've got a few randos from the white base. Maybe we've got our Milpost Glinton here.
Oh,
um,
yeah.
Job John and the
Job
like.
John, I was about to say that'd be a good one.
See
He's
what we
more
can do.
featured in Cuckoo's Doan's Island.
That's one of the things that I wish that that Origin would give us more of is like Job John and some of these other
The other characters that were just drawn in the background to fill up
exactly.
the space. Yeah.
So here on the top of this page we have going from left to right Saint Malo, a episode 35 through 37, a young
Oh,
man on the crew of the White Base who is in charge of medical matters alongside Frau. We've got Howard,
okay.
a mechanical student. He's only in episode 36, apparently. Mechanic student in the White Base crew. He even escaped with Kai and the others in opposition to Bright, who treated Amuro specially. So interesting.
Yeah, I like that they put the episode numbers in there.
I love that they put the episode numbers in there. It's like, oh, man.
Yeah.
Omel Hong, a mechanical trainee in the White Base crew, a chief mechanic man. That's another one of those awkward
Yeah.
translations. He is a chief mechanic man in charge of repairing mobile suits on white bases. Plural.
That's an important role. It's good to know that guy.
It's a pretty big role for a guy
Yeah.
that's got a 2-sentence entry in the encyclopedia.
Yeah. Huh.
Down here, starting row 2, we've got Masaki, a nursing student on the white base. Episode 35. She has been nursing the crew who have been injured in fierce battles since leaving Jaburo.
Wow. Yeah, another important one. That's really cool.
Tamura is the white base head cook, took care of the food situation on the ship, as a cook should, which carried refugees and was short of supplies, one of the few regular soldiers. So he actually was a white base regular, unlike most of the white base crew. If you follow the original story, they were all kind of conscripted at Side
Right.
7.
That is cool.
And finally, on row number 2, we've got Maximilian, episode 20, along with Kai and Hayato, who are in charge of maintenance. He is in charge of the white base's main engine, and he was one of the other pilots, or not other pilots, but other crew members that abandoned the white base with Kai.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I love that type of stuff. Now, does it go beyond like if you were to go into Zeta and Double Zeta, does it get pretty deep or does it get lighter as it goes into the later?
That's a good question. I think we should probably go ahead and dive into those. Now, obviously, when you get to a
Oh, of
page with
course.
Shar Aznable and you've got a 2-page spread with him riding a horse, you've got, his long flowing locks, you've got helmet on, helmet off, you've got dramatic, this looks like a Kamen Rider pose, this like,
That's awesome. Too
um,
bad there's no shirt off. I mean, what are they thinking?
right. But that's a good point. I think that we should probably dig a little deeper into this book. I mean, we've got a pretty big entry on Shalia Bull. We should dig a little deeper into this book and see what the entries look like for some of the later generation characters. We do have an entire page dedicated to Emma, which
Oh,
I think
nice.
she deserves at the very least.
Oh, that's cool. It's like a civilian dress she's wearing. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
So you get, and again, you've got these black and white images. These would make excellent coloring book options. Maybe that's what you and I should do is like for January 2023, we'll make the Gundam Explained coloring book.
Yeah, we'll get these. We'll
Make it
scan them, print them
available.
out. Yep.
um, so let's see. I want to find kind of a not super obscure character, at least a
Yeah.
character that has some backstory, but is from a later series that we can kind of dive into and see what kind of background we get on them. I'm not sure who this old guy is. Oh, here we go. This is a character from Double Zeta
Hmm.
because he is a Xeon officer. I think he can cover, especially because he has a whole quarter page and
Yeah.
sideways. See if it'll actually read for me. So here we have Mezun Mex, the
Okay.
captain of the karate club at the high school that Camille attends.
Oh.
Camille was stopped by him when he tried to leave the club early and was beaten. So this guy's an episode 1 regular.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
That's a good one.
That is.
And
Okay, what's
I would
I
not
was
have
about to say,
expected.
what's that on the bottom left? But I guess that's when they were in it was after that yeah, they visited the colony. That
Oh,
was
these corpses here.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that those are your side 30. What would you call them? Survivors,
Oh, yeah.
not
Yeah.
survivants,
Corpses. Yeah. Wow.
lifants. Um, that's funny. I can't believe that they have a cool quarter page dedicated to a guy that's in this show for 30 seconds and he delivers one line like,
Yeah.
yeah, somehow I doubt it.
Oh, here's
Um,
another good one.
let's see. Okay, so now we're getting into Double Zeta. Um, okay, so here we go. We have the woman who somehow stole Bright's eyes away from Mirai. It always made me
Oh, yeah.
mad that Double Zeta made Bright into this like two timing loser. I'm like, man,
I know the only thing I can think of is maybe culturally, it was almost like accepted when a man needs to have, that sort of affection that he can use in war and battle. Uh, you know?
and I think that you probably could have explored that a little more because obviously, he was away from his family for years with the Argama.
Yeah.
And so it's like, there's definitely I can definitely understand the feeling of someone, longing for the touch of someone else when they're on the front lines of battle. But I wish that it hadn't been just kind of an offhand thing as it was in
Yeah.
Double Zeta.
It almost like it was just a natural part of the story in a way. Like, it
Yeah,
didn't really challenge him as a character. To a degree it did, but more for her than for him, you know?
yeah. Dan says that sort of affection, if you know what I mean. So Emery Ounce, which it's Emily, but uh, acting chief of the Anaheim Electronics dock ship Le'Veon Rose, a talented girl with extensive MS knowledge. She has extensive knowledge. During the decisive battle at Core 3, he attacked Queen Mansa with Le'Veon Rose, killing him. So she attacked the Queen Mansa with
Yeah,
Le'Veon Rose, and
yeah,
and
killing him.
she was killed.
Yeah. I guess maybe when it comes to the pronouns or whatever, how masculine, feminine is a little different with
Exactly
Japanese
right.
characters, yeah.
So, so can you name a character offhand that we ought to try and look up before we close out for the evening?
Um, Shara Soon?
Shara Soon, that's a good one. So we've got Double Zeta here. We are
Yeah, I like
kind of
that
in the
character a lot.
right section for her. Look at all of these reference images for Lena Ashta. I
It's
mean,
pretty cool.
that's so freaking cool. Um, again, these are just great reference books for all kinds
Yeah,
of
for
stuff.
everything.
Use Xeon pilots.
Yeah, if we can't find her, that's okay. We can if something else pops up that's interesting.
I'm sure she's nearby because we've got Dakaran, we've got my boy Glemmy. Here we go. Charasoon. So she has a this is a full page entry, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's kind of an interesting because she actually occupies 3/4 of the page, and the twins are in the bottom corner.
Oh. Okay.
Let's see what we can learn about Charasoon from the old Google Translate. So for one thing, they pronounce it Karasoon in the translation app.
Mm.
But what we learn about her is that she is a female officer who was sent with Mashamar, who had a series of failures. Although she boasts high abilities as a mobile suit pilot, she has a propensity to get excited when she sits in the cockpit. She was once a prisoner of war on the Argama and became close with Judo during that time. After returning to Neo Zeon as an enhanced human, cyber new type,
Mm.
she was entrusted with the royal guards of the MS Gamalk, Lance and Knee. So that's the twins.
Mm.
And fought hard on the front lines. However, it was exhausted in battle with Glemmy's army, the new type corps, and scattered into space. So yeah,
Huh. That's pretty good. I mean, we can sift through those little uh mix-ups, but in general, yeah, that's explaining
yeah,
her
pretty much
overall story pretty good. Yeah.
covers her presence in Double Zeta. I think it's funny that like obviously Mashamar we get like all of these different facial expression references, and there's none of that for Charasoon. It's like, well, here's
Yeah.
her in a normal suit, here's her with a whip, here's
That's too
her
bad
with a
'cause she
jacket.
was pretty expressive.
That's pretty.
I mean,
I think I've got my my project for my Titans made Super Fumina. Maybe we're gonna make a
oh,
Super
okay.
Charasoon.
Okay, yeah. That's a good idea.
But yeah. So like I said, I was excited to share these guys with you. I've had them for a while, but I've never really done anything on them with the channel. If you guys think I should do any kind of videos talking about these books or going into details about specifics out of them, let me know because obviously I'm happy to dive into that.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, we're probably gonna sign out for the night so that I can go feed the baby, all that good stuff. We do
Oh,
have, of course,
yeah.
the Gundam Explained podcast tomorrow night.
That's
Adam, what are
right.
we going to be talking about tomorrow?
Well, talk about some things we're excited about that should be coming out in 2023 shows, Gunpla, whatever. Also, I did a little poll on the Twitter, so if you haven't, you can vote on the Gundam Explained Twitter for your favorite character out of the three I put, which is Soletta, Miorine, and Choo Choo. So I wonder from those three, I think those are a good three for people to really. I think it could almost be even.
You're not a real New Yorker if you don't say choo choo.
Oh,
Choo choo's
okay.
from the Bronx. It's facts.
That's cool. That's cool. So yeah, that'll be that.
Oh man. Well, awesome. I'm excited for it then.
Yeah.
As always, links down in the description below to the Discord, to the Patreons, to Gundam Explained. And we will definitely see you tomorrow night. I can't believe it's almost the new year. So we're
I
not going
know.
to see you on this channel until 2023. That's crazy to think about.
Ah, the last
Um,
show.
the last
The
show.
last
Uh,
show.
so we'll have to come up with something special here to celebrate ringing in the new year.
Yeah.
But yeah, until then, I will catch you guys later. Have a good rest of your evening, great rest of your week. See you tomorrow over on Gundam Explained. Adam,
Yep.
thank you as always for joining me.
Of course.
Cheers,
Of
everyone.
course. Yeah. See y'all.